One Piece 1100. What to expect from the chapter. Eiichiro Oda's story will reach another incredible milestone with One Piece chapter 1100, and it is certainly something that fans are eagerly waiting for. The story is currently in the Egghead Island arc and is focusing on the life of Kuma through a tragic flashback. The flashback has been nothing short of incredible for the fans to witness, as the character of Kuma is slowly being explored more with each passing chapter. The flashback is now entering its final stages, and, with Bonnie finally being set up to be cured in the previous chapter, it is time for Kuma and the Pacifista Project to receive all the light. With that in mind, there are quite a lot of interesting things that could end up happening in One Piece chapter 1100. The Pacifista Project begins. In the previous chapter of the story, fans saw Kuma finally leaving on his journey to meet Dr. Vegapunk after Dragon informed him about the genius scientist moving to Egghead Island, taking Bonnie in a small box. Kuma finally went to this island and asked Vegapunk for a cure. Much to his surprise, Vegapunk mentioned that he could cure Bonnie's disease, but the cost for this disease was too high. Vegapunk suggested that since he has Buccaneer blood, he could make him a test subject to create the clone army that he was working on. This army would go on to defend the peace of the people and save the weak and the innocent. That is what Vegapunk intended the Pacifista army to be, and the two came to an amicable conclusion, and that is precisely where One Piece chapter 1100 will pick up from. Fans will definitely see Kuma and Vegapunk interact more in the upcoming chapters, and this interaction is one that Oda might have previously touched upon. For instance, Kuma and Vegapunk had a conversation in one of the flashbacks where the weight of the soul was discussed. This might play into the next chapter, and more context could be provided in regards to this conversation, the weight of the soul, how the pacifistas were created in the first place, and also how long it is going to take to finish the entire process. It is very likely that the Pacifista Project will be completed in the upcoming chapter, and that only means that Oda will likely throw in Saturn in the next chapter as well. Saturn's intervention. One Piece chapter 1100 will most definitely see Saturn get involved in the plot in major ways. Towards the end of the last chapter, fans saw that Saturn was eavesdropping on the conversation between Vegapunk and Kuma. While Vegapunk wanted to create an army to defend the weak and uphold peace, Saturn said that the true worth of a weapon is decided by how many people it can kill. Saturn certainly wasn't happy with Vegapunk for passing on the opportunity to create mass murdering machines. However, he had different plans. Fans also know that Saturn ends up getting involved directly in stuff, thanks to Bonnie, and the admission of the fact that he was directly responsible for killing Kuma. It only means that Saturn will likely come to Egghead in the upcoming chapter, or simply convey his message to Dr. Vegapunk and threaten him with death. The idea would be to strip Kuma of all his emotions and memories, so that he could be the ultimate model and the killing machine for the celestial dragons. He would also then install a pacifista control hierarchy, which would ensure that the 5 elders have the highest authority over these incredible pieces of machines. Fans will most likely see this play out in One Piece chapter 1100. How Kuma died. One Piece chapter 1100 will most definitely focus on Kuma and his eventual death. While Kuma will not actually die, the fact is that his memories will be stripped from him, and so will his emotions after the transformation, means that he will die in a metaphorical sense and be left as a cyborg. Of course, before that, Kuma could very well create some lasting relations with the likes of Vegapunk. It will be interesting to see how Vegapunk reacts to Saturn's orders, and whether Saturn will interact with Kuma once again or not. This is something very interesting that fans are waiting to see, especially because these two characters have already met once in God Valley. Now, they have a chance of meeting again, and their meeting could end up being very interesting, especially because fans know that it doesn't end up going too well for Kuma. Interestingly, the upcoming chapter could also tie in some very intriguing aspects of Kuma and Vegapunk's plan. Even though Kuma ends up losing all his memories and emotions, he still has some programs written into him. For instance, Vegapunk wrote a program to protect the ship of the Straw Hat Pirates in him before he lost his memory, and, at the same time, it appears that something in him compels him to save Bonnie from danger as well. These commands could very well be focused on in One Piece chapter 1100, and every single fan of the story would absolutely love for that to be the center of attention. Fans could also find out more about whether Vegapunk has some deeper plans in regards to opposing the world government or not. Bonnie sets out to to the sea. One of the biggest parts of One Piece Chapter 1100 is going to be the curing of the sapphire scale disease. Bonnie has not been cured just yet, and that means One Piece Chapter 1100 will see the job done. The sapphire scale will finally be removed from Bonnie's skin, and that only means that she won't be on the island for too long. Fans know that Bonnie ends up becoming a pirate, and she makes it as a part of the worst generation despite being a child, which is nothing short of incredible. This only means that Bonnie will set out to sea very soon, and if there is a time skip in One Piece after 1100, then fans will get to see her sailing with the goal of getting to Vegapunk once again. As to how Bonnie gets to the Sorbet Kingdom once again, it is likely a journey that Kuma embarks on with her. This would also give Kuma the chance to go to places such as Amazon Lily, which he did not visit in the previous chapter. Fans know that every single location that the Straw Hats were sent to by Kuma was visited by Kuma himself. Curiously, he left out Amazon Lily in the previous chapter, and, perhaps, that will tie into One Piece Chapter 1100. There's a lot of stuff that could end up happening in the upcoming chapter, and fans also know that this chapter could be huge and offer some bigger surprises. However, given the way the story is progressing, it doesn't seem like massive developments will take place in the upcoming chapter, other than those that surround the character of Kuma, the process of creation of the pacifistas, and the revelation of the remaining tragedy that followed Kuma in his life. And in other news, One Piece, how Bonnie ate the Toshi Toshi no Mi explained. Jewelry Bonnie is the focus of the ongoing One Piece chapters, and she will continue to be focused upon in the story as the Egghead Island arc continues. In the recent weeks, Oda has thrown quite a lot of focus on this character, given that it is through her that the entire story of Kuma is being described. Bonnie finally happened to come across the memories of her father and understand the misery that he had to go through in life. At the same time, through this flashback, fans also found out quite a bit about Bonnie, especially since now the story is officially covering events surrounding her birth and her growth, along with all the hardships that she herself has had to face as well. One of the most interesting things that has happened to Bonnie in her life is coming across the incredible Toshi Toshi no Mi, a mystical devil fruit that has given her amazing powers. In the recent chapter of One Piece, it was finally revealed as to how Bonnie managed to eat this devil fruit. Bonnie and Kuma's adventures. Jewelry Bonnie was revealed to be the daughter of Jinny and a celestial dragon who she was forced to marry. After Jinny was kidnapped, she was forced to read this unnamed celestial dragon, and after that, when she contracted some sort of illness, she was discarded along with Bonnie. Jinny was a victim of the sapphire scale disease, and, unfortunately, she was exposed to natural light while trying to get to the Sorbet Kingdom and ended up perishing in the process. Bonnie was found by Kuma, and he decided to raise her by himself and do the very best for her. Fans got to see Bonnie grow up with Kuma. However, their life, which was now looking somewhat positive, took another sad turn when Bonnie herself was seen developing the sapphire scale. Bonnie went to quite a few doctors, and eventually, one of them was able to diagnose this disease for what it was and told Kuma that she had just 5 years to live. Immediately after that, Kuma decided to go from one place to another in search of a cure for Bonnie. However, before that, Bonnie managed to eat her incredible devil fruit and gain tremendous powers herself. How Bonnie ate the Toshi Toshi no Mi. In One Piece Chapter 1099, it was revealed to the fans that Kuma fought against King Bekori and his forces all by himself. This event came to be known as the One-Man Revolution of Sorbet Kingdom, and, in this war, Kuma utterly destroyed King Bekori and all his army. The people of the kingdom then pressured Kuma to take the crown, and he ended up doing that. However, Kuma revealed that he was only the face of the crown. In reality, King Bulldog was pulling the strings from behind, with Kuma's permission. Kuma himself continued to live in the south of the Sorbet Kingdom in the same church, and, as always, he continued to treat old and elderly people, making the best use of his ability that he possibly could. It is around that time that Bonnie is revealed to have eaten the devil fruit. Bonnie who had managed to take the form of a full-grown adult, decided to run laps in order to build her stamina for when she is 10. At first, the people around her found it impossible to recognize who this person was. All they could tell was that this person had quite a lot of resemblance to Ginny herself. It wasn't long until Bonnie herself made it clear as to who she was, and then the people around her put 2 and 2 together and realized that she might have eaten a devil fruit. Not long after, a research was conducted as to what power Bonnie has eaten, and it is revealed in a devil fruit encyclopedia that her devil fruit might be the Toshi Toshi no Mi. It is not revealed in the chapter where exactly Bonnie found this devil fruit. However, it certainly happened after the one-man revolution of the Sorbet Kingdom. Bonnie has made it her goal to build up her stamina as well as her strength so that she is ready to set sail and see the entire world with her father, Kuma, just as he promised her. At first, Bonnie is only able to take the form of an adult. As mentioned by Oda himself, Bonnie was 22 before the time skip. As such, it is likely that Bonnie can only take the form of a 22-year-old woman around this time. Later on, however, she also learns how to turn into an old lady. This happens when Queen Connie, the wife of King Bulldog, makes an appearance with him. This is exactly who Bonnie takes the form of much later in the story as well, when she decides to infiltrate the Reverie. Fans might know that Bonnie took the form of a Dowager Queen Connie at the time and, shortly afterwards, took her real form as well. Now, Oda has finally revealed how that became possible. The powers of the Toshi Toshi no Mi. The Toshi Toshi no Mi is an incredibly powerful ability that belongs to the Paramecia class. Bonnie ate this devil fruit at a very young age, and it is quite impressive that she has managed to control this power as well as she has done, despite being far from an adult. Simply put, this devil fruit allows the user to alter their ages any way that they like. Bonnie can turn herself into an old woman or a child as well. Bonnie can also alter the ages of others around him. She can turn people into their old variants, or adults into toddlers. However, it must be remembered that for others, Bonnie's power is only temporary. Bonnie can also give a near-death experience to those who stand in her way, and can also use her weapons to transfer her ability into others, knocking out their age in the process. One of the most incredible aspects of Bonnie's ability is the fact that she can alternate timelines as well. For instance, Bonnie could enter a muscular form of hers, which clearly resembled a buccaneer state. This would be an alternate timeline had Bonnie been the true child of Kuma. In this way, this devil fruit can be used to access a what-if scenario as well. Bonnie can also use this ability on others, however, as always, this change is not permanent. It is quite clear to see that Bonnie possesses quite a lot of incredible power up her sleeve, and the fact that she is far from an adult means that as she grows up, she will only grow to master abilities even further. Bonnie is destined for greatness in One Piece, and her devil fruit will take her to great heights in the future of the story. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more amazing videos very soon.